It was probably more than a year since I was sitting in this car last time. I removed the fuel pump fuse, brake pedal. Nothing's happening. Right now I'm gonna tighten the supercharger nuts. If I'm not mistaken, it's 20 Newton meters. I don't have a sequence, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be crisscross pattern kinda, or diagonal pattern, and I'm gonna do it in stages because I want it to be like evenly tightened. Okay, initial torque is, now I'm gonna do 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now I would like to replace the wiring harness to the 2011 wiring harness. As I showed you previously, there is a slight discrepancies. Also I'm gonna need to put this plastic bracket from this side. We still have a plastic bracket on the passenger side, but yeah, right now let's do the wiring harness. Okay, one step forward and 2 steps back. I was searching where this connector is going to, and I couldn't find any empty spots in here. I mean, any connectors or sockets or whatever. So I went back to my old engine, and I found out that the auxiliary pump or air pump, secondary air pump, hose pipe, it goes into this little contraption which has some kind of sensor inside right here, and it goes to the passenger bank and driver side as well. So this is the spot, while on 2013 engine there is no place for the sensor, so there is no sensor, which means I'm gonna need to take the supercharger off, and I'm gonna need to replace this plastic pipe and take one from my old engine. Okay, one mystery solved. There you go. That's the difference between those two secondary air pump, air hoses. Pretty much absolutely the same from the ends, while slightly different in the Y or T joint. So yeah, I'm gonna switch them and hopefully no more surprises. Right, I put back together the supercharger. This replacement old pipe from my old motor is installed with this, whatever sensor. I double check all the connectors, everything is connected. I don't have any loose connectors except those guys. If I'm not mistaken, those were the O2 sensors from both sides. And the only thing I do not recall is where those ground wires supposed to be connected, because those are not present on 2013 harness but only on 2011. And I also need to put this like a sock in here, like this one. I need to find it. I don't recall where I put it, but yeah, not a big deal. I installed 034 new engine mounts from both sides, and at that point I am ready to pair this engine with the transmission. Probably gonna be a little later today. I'm slightly tired of this wiring mess, but again, looks like no loose ends except that thing that goes somewhere in the bottom of the car. Yeah, I forgot, it's not yet ready to pair because I need to mount the power steering pump, because 2013 has electric power steering rack, while 2011 got all good hydraulic power steering. It's only, I guess, 2 bolts, 1 and 2 to hook it up, and that's it. Next update, I installed the power steering pump on its place. I needed to remove the AC compressor in order to get to the kind of lower bolt holding the pump in place. I needed to remove the pulley from the pump to get the access to the 2 bolts that holds the pump from the front. So there are 4 bolts in total holding the power steering pump in place, 3 bolts holding the AC compressor in place. AC compressor connected back. I'm gonna raise the engine slightly right now, and I'm gonna fit the subframe underneath so I could secure the engine onto the subframe. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. The engine and transmission are in the car already. I'm starting to button up, the hoses and whatnot. Also, I'm dumping the old oil from the engine. It's pretty black. What I was slightly intrigued or concerned maybe about was when I opened the oil filter, cap. It was totally dry, so there was no oil even dripping from the filter itself. It was totally dry, so at one moment I was worried there is no oil in the engine. However, I started the engine previously, it was running pretty damn good, and on the opposite note, this engine wasn't started for even longer time than the other one in the car, and when I opened this oil cap, there was a bunch of oil inside. Maybe okay, not now, not anymore. I cleaned it because it was spilling everywhere in here, and it had like a milkshake. Obviously the water got through the pistons into the pan. But yeah, looks like, I'm not sure how many liters of oil supposed to be in this engine. This bucket is 5 gallon, but I don't know, 5 gallons are like roughly about probably 17 liters. It's probably around 6 liters of oil, so I guess we're okay. I typically do not pre-oil the filter, but in this particular case, since the engine wasn't running for many months, I'm probably gonna dump some oil into the filter housing as well, just to minimize the time of the dry crank. A little update: I installed the exhaust, and I put one from 2013 model, which came with the aftermarket ARP or APR, some kind of brand. I have no clue what is it. Exhaust with a dark tips. Drive shaft is installed, front axles installed. I did not yet install the sway bar. It's probably going to be one of the last items. This bolt, and same bolts from the other side are not yet tightened, because they need to be tightened when the car is under the full load. I need to put this wiring, I guess it's the positive, pretty much the main positive wire, like those fat wires, comes from the battery. So the rest looks to be connected. I did not totally tighten the exhaust yet. I put the swivel extension on the upper nut on the passenger side. I'm gonna check out now if I'll be able to reach it with the long extension from the top. I tightened it with a stubby wrench, but with a stubby wrench you cannot obviously apply a lot of torque, so I'll try to reach it from the top. So yeah, that's it so far. There is no oil in the that's the transmission. There is no oil in the engine. I think I had connected everything for the most part, hopefully. So right now I would like to add the power steering fluid. I need to add the oil, since the engine doesn't have an oil. And I also found that this, let me check if you can you see it or cannot. So take a look where my finger is, like the black connector on the sensor. You can see, maybe you can see it loose. So this connector obviously, or this sensor, came from 2013 Audi, and it was smashed on the right hand side. I remember that the second connector on the same high pressure fuel pump, I already replaced this one because it was totally broken. But at the time I didn't notice the other one is wiggly, and obviously right now when the engine is inside, it is much harder to get the access to this inner connector, which is like towards the engine. So most likely I'm gonna need to remove this sensor, and it's gonna give me a little bit more space to get to the. Using those two wrenches, one is 15/16 and one is 27 millimeters, I was able to first of all remove this tiny sensor, and it gave me the access to this like larger sensor, and probably you can see it's not very good. Probably it's still work, but you know, it's I don't like it. So 2011 sensor will go in instead of this. As you can see, they're slightly different shape, but I bet it's gonna work just fine. It's not bad to get to it. You're slightly limited with the wrenches. Actually, those wrenches are too long. It doesn't allow you to manipulate with them, you know, as freely as you would like to, but it's get the job done. Power steering fluid goes first. I'm gonna rotate the steering wheel for, I don't know, 50 times back and forth, so the fluid circulate, you know, everywhere. I don't want this power steering pump to run dry without any fluid when we're gonna crank the engine. That's why I'm gonna start it without. That's why I'm gonna do it without starting the engine first. I mean, rotating the steering wheel, and I'm gonna need to remove this cap just to refresh my mind that I need to add some oil into the engine. All right, let's start with this power steering. And for some reason, I am using the original OEM power steering fluid even on this car, which it doesn't cost much money, like in its current condition and the type of title is gonna carry. So I'm not sure why am I doing all that, really investing so much money, like replacing the chain tensioners and, you know, all this stuff, and I'm for the most part using the original parts. Let me slightly raise the car on a lift, so it's gonna be easier for me to rotate the wheels. And I think I'm gonna need to connect the battery because the steering column is locked, and I need to find the keys from that car, and I didn't see those keys probably for a year. It might take a moment. Hold on, guys. Now it is a good time to try to remember what was forgotten to be put back together. I remember what was forgotten to put back in place. It's an oil filter. It may be necessary. I'm using liquid moly. Strange O-ring for this kind of, it's a strange O-ring from the point I never used this kind of O-ring before, so I pre-oil it slightly, and it goes kind of inside this oil filter housing, just like that. And the filter, where's the filter? The filter goes in here, and please note something. This is the cap from my old engine. Alright, this is the cap from this engine, and it doesn't have this insert, so probably it was broken at one point, which slightly concerns me. And let me put some oil inside the filter housing. Okay, I'll put some oil in there. Should be what is the problem here? I got approximately 6.5 liters of oil right now. It's probably enough for the moment. And let's put the cap. Actually, let me slightly clean it. Cap in place. It was probably more than a year since I was sitting in this car last time. All right. Okay, it should take me probably like 50 or 100 times to go from one side to another, just simply so the fluid would get everywhere it needs to go. And also I wanted to disconnect the fuel pump and crank the engine without starting, assuming it's gonna start. So the oil would kind of flow everywhere it would like to flow. Okay, let's check out the level. Actually, the oil did not drop down dramatically, just a hair. I'm gonna do this workout for few more dozen times. I removed the fuel pump fuse. Sorry guys, you cannot see it. It's number 3 fuse from the top in the middle, in the middle array. So right now I would like to press on the brake pedal and see what it's gonna do. Brake pedal, nothing's happening. And looks like it's because the battery is totally dead, because everything kind of dies. Nothing is happening. Okay, let me put a different battery. My battery is on the charger. This is a pretty good charger. I had a good luck, jump starting the dead batteries, and I'll put this charger in the description, the link for it. I liked it, and like with the 30 amps maximum charging power, it charges the batteries fairly quick, assuming the batteries are not totally dead. Okay, let's jump into the cabin and let's try to give it the spin. We'll see if the battery is somewhat capable of turning the engine. All right. Where's the key? The key. Where's the key? Where did I put the key? Okay, found the key. Alright, and the fuel pump fuse is removed, so theoretically it shouldn't start anyway. Oh, cranks very healthy, I guess. At that point I can install the fuse for the fuel pump. If I'm not mistaken, it's 1, 2, 3, number 3 from the top. and I'm not sure how to make it prime. Let's try. Yay! There is no coolant, but it looks like it's pretty healthy and it's happy. Yay! Yeah, no. Maybe exhaust is slightly aggressive. All right. Yoo-hoo. Okay, at least the engine is alive. The wiring was correct. Whew. My God, 1 year. 1 year, maybe even 1 year and 1 month since I pulled the engine from this car. Unbelievable. Alright guys, since it's starting, looks like the timing is correct since it's starting and running. I'm gonna proceed with the coolant installation. I'm gonna use the vacuum thing for coolant because it's kind of complicated cooling system in this car, which means it's slightly cumbersome to bleed all the air from the coolant to get rid of the air pockets. So I'm gonna use the, how it calls, the vacuum, yeah, the vacuum method. And yeah, let's see how it's gonna work out. I'm getting ready to fill the system with the coolant, and I got Pentafrost E concentrate in the bucket. So I put about 4 liters of concentrate and about 4 liters of distilled water, and I got some conflicting results online about what is the total capacity of this cooling system in this car, but we'll figure it out. I'm gonna create the vacuum now, and after the vacuum is created, the system gonna suck the coolant from this bucket, and if it's gonna come to the low point, I'm gonna add some more distilled water, because typically in the area where I live, it's only maybe 1 or 2 times a year it may be the negative temperature outside, so it's usually +5, +10 degrees Celsius in the winter. So I will mix it about 1 part of concentrate to about 2 or even to about 2 parts of water. So yeah, let's proceed. Let's create the vacuum. And the pipe is gonna collapse. We are getting closer. This noise pretty much indicates either the failure of this tool, or typically it indicates that I am reached the most vacuum that I can pull from the system. And now I will carefully open the fill valve. And the system gonna start to suck the coolant from the bucket. We can see it slowly starting to, you know, go into the bottle. I already vacuum tested the system previously to make sure I don't have any leaks, so I do not expect to have any. And I can start to see the bottom of the bucket. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna add another gallon of water, maybe. Okay, the slowly decreasing. I closed the valve, and let's add some more water. Not much. Probably should be enough. Let's reopen the valve, and we can see that the vacuum is, you know, dropping. And when we're gonna reach around, you know, 0 mark, I think it should be it. And actually that's it. I don't think the vacuum here is enough to, you know, pull the coolant from the tank. I guess we're maybe nearly all filled, and we can definitely add some more in the tank. I put the bucket on the top here so it would be easier, you know, to suck it in, and looks like it's taking a little more, and that's it. We are at 0 vacuum now. Close the valve. Let me remove all this contraption, and I'm gonna start the car. I think it took like roughly about 9 liters of coolant or so. So let's start the car and turn on the heating. How to... okay. Alright. And we're gonna need to monitor the temperature. Full tank of gas.